What a day in the markets. Good afternoon. It is 9/11 Wednesday, 4:15 p.m. Thank you for joining. If you are a subscriber and you joined my CMT webinar earlier today, it was a blast, really in depth, ripped through a ton of charts. So very interesting day today, very interesting. The highlights were obviously CPI this morning, 2.5%, iPhone. 2.5% year over year was the number a lot of people were looking at. Solar, uranium, semiconductors all jumped massively, 5% a piece, while staples dropped 1%. They've been on a massive tear. So we'll take a look. The price action today was pretty interesting and how strong it was after not a so great morning. So let me show you what I'm talking about. The lip slur. Okay, so I'll take this off. But NVIDIA, Mommy told you you're going to have days like this with big up 5-10% days in NVIDIA. You got it today, Mommy being me in this instance. But some big movers. Supermicro up 8%. They came for the semis today in a big way. And also I saw AMD up 5%. So what I want to show you first, so this is an intraday chart. Right here, I'm yelling because the air conditioner's on. So here is the print right here. Drop a ticker in the chat if you'd like. So 8:30 a.m. the number comes out. So we declined a little bit, and then really at 9:30 they started to flush. We hit a low at 10:30 a.m. Oversold. We RSI reached 25, so oversold. If you bought that dip, congratulations. At 10:30 a.m., pretty early. Usually we get a noon turnaround, which corresponds with the European close. But today at 10:30 a.m. they flushed it early. And look at this. All green bars after this, nothing but buys from 10:30 onward. I'm talking literally until 4 p.m., until they rang the bell. Big candle in the day, which we'll look at. Tells me there's probably more buying tomorrow. But look at this. So bottom at 10:30, we still couldn't close above VWAP, this important orange number here, our line here. And we closed above 11:30, and then really off to the races, all the way to closing at a high at the 3:30, the final 30 minutes with volume. There was more buys on the close than there were sells on the open, seen by these bars. So, and it was above volume average trading day as well. It was the third most trading of the past 30 days. So impressive. Also important to know the 200 character or the 200 candle moving average I use here on an intraday basis was pretty strong at 550. It took effort really to get above that with momentum, and we did it at 2 o'clock. So pretty impressive. Zooming out here, this could be the turnaround. I was waiting for S&P to base, if you recall. I said this really just yesterday. Rocco, you're gonna stay. You're the viewer. You have a ticker in the chat? Woof. Anyway, I said we're going to base around that 551 level. You can watch yesterday's video, and I said we're going to have probably a little bit of resistance around 555. And here we are in one candle. I still think we're going to hover around 551, to be frank, for around this week. And then I do think we'll go into a slow accumulation mode into October as we try to target 570 and those new all-time highs. All right, I don't think I've done it yet, share the screen of what moved today. I went right into that. That's weird. Okay, hang on. Let me go on the thing. This thing's getting buggy for some reason. All right, hang on. There we go. All right, so here's the doc. I didn't get to it yet. We talked about the beginning. But yeah, solar, interesting. I always look at this chart because it's such a piece of crap. Hit a 52-week low yesterday. They did talk about it in the debate, if I guess that's what we call it. I'm not going to just bash the debate. I watched it, and I'm not going to touch it here. So solar up big, uranium up big. We'll look at that because that chart has been faltering and been very weak. Semis, I love to see that. Most important chart in the market, up 5%. The broader tech up 3%. Qs were up 2%. And Mexico, how about this? Up 2%. So take a look at that. They came for the losers and a little bit of the winners, right? Semiconductor, a year-long winner. Tan and uranium and Mexico, losers. So interesting rotation. And then, of course, it was a totally risk-on day, and they dropped out of Staples. Staples down 1%, which is a pretty big move for it. And then how things quickly change. The best 3 trades of the past 5 days in the entire marketplace is short vol. Okay, it was down today about 5%. Long nat gas, they're coming for the pigs and trash like that. And then short KRA, the regional banks, they've had an extremely hard time, down to the tune of 4% over the past week. So let's get in the charts now. All righty. So we will go to the first one, TAN. Let's take a look at this. All right, so 52-week low, as I said yesterday, okay. I thought, like, I don't know if we talked about this the other day, but I thought this was going to find support right around that $38 level. Excuse me, as it tries to make a push towards 40. Well, we're at 40 now. What? To be honest, I know the candidates were talking about solar, and a lot of people think this is going to be up. I saw a technician, Mish Schneider, say, this is going to be up next year, regardless of who the president is. Maybe, but the chart looks terrible. It has been basing and looks less bad, I will be frank, since June, but it doesn't look good when a 52-week low was put in less than 24 hours ago. So now, if this has a lot of gusto, it'll get to 43. It'll try and make a run to this 52 to this 200 moving average. Depending on when it does it, I would like to get short this name. So, but I think you have to give this 2 to 3 more weeks, and then it's a short candidate, and maybe you capitalize on the seasonality weakness in the market. So that'd be a good one. I'm writing it right now. Again, I do a lot of stuff with the 15-day cycles, so I'm going to write around September 27th to short TAN. Wrote it right here in my book. All right, but yeah, short term, the 21 EMA right here is 40, so I don't think it's done a ton. It was just coming off a super discount of a 52-week low yesterday. Let's see how much it gets to 43. I think it makes a good potential run at it with a flying 200-day. And again, the test, I talked about this a lot today on the CMT Trading Trends webinar. The test will be, if it gets above this 200-day moving average of 43.90, you give it 4 to 5 weeks. If it holds there, if it holds, you buy that thing, you buy that sucker, it's going higher. If it falters, you short, that's a failure. That's what we call an oopsie. I call it an oopsie. All right, uranium, let's check this out. They came for other, non-performers. Uranium not doing so well. Let me see. Yep, having a lot of time here under the 200-day moving average. So our counter on here, when I gave up on it, so July 18th it started, pretty much August 18th, August 25th, I would have thrown in the towel. That's why I did throw in the towel right around here. This is the best it could muster. That is not quite good enough. And now, of course, your 200-day is starting to roll over, especially as you are 4 months removed from 52-week highs and right there with 52-week lows during the Japan Nikkei crash a couple of Mondays ago. So now what? I think for underperformers, like we just saw with TAN, uranium, I think these are going to get a little bit of spark in the market. Here's the problem, though. They're coming off such cheap levels. So, again, very similar situation. Uranium at 25 here, just a touch with this big rip today at 5%, just a touch over its 21-day exponential moving average. This may try to make a move towards 27.15, but I don't think it's going to do much more of that, getting above its Bollinger Band. Similar move to what it had here August 26th, around that period. And then I think it goes lower. Would it be a short there? I do like charts that look like this, especially with recent oversold behavior. There's a line of buyers. I would rate this as well to short uranium. I do right here live. We'll do it live. I'll write it. We'll do it live. I scared Rocco with the Bill O'Reilly impression. So I will do same thing September 27th. So we'll see. Sometimes when I see trade ideas like that, it forms a thesis about when, positioning in and when rotating out, when you can kind of time it. You have something to say? No? All right. So that was uranium. So over the next, like I said, I think I already said it, but over the next 2 to 3 weeks, ultimately, maybe this makes a push towards 17, and I would love to short it there. I do not think it makes a run at that 200 moving average, far too heavy. SMH, let's look at this chart, most important chart in the marketplace. I'll say it over and over and over. NVIDIA rich. When NVIDIA is up 8%, what is this going to do? Up 5 due to the weighting, right? Again, major oopsie. A lot of people pooping themselves, as it were, for the head and shoulders here. So here you have a shoulder, a head, and then a shoulder. The problem is the rise 200-day moving average is still super strong, super duper strong, I'll say. And you've had exactly one close under the 200-day moving average in the past 12 months. So, and more than that, if I go actually zoomed out on the time frame. So not exactly a trend in peril. So what do I expect? Similar situation. I said this was a little bit too cheap coming down here, and you got an opportunity. If you bought tech, semiconductors rather, specifically tech as well because the correlation. But if you bought semis on September 6th during that scare, congrats. It was really probably the 3 best times of the past 12 months. So really pat yourself on the back. Today, a big day up 5. Now what? It's going to try and make a run towards 250 to 255. I think that's where it runs out of steam. It's going to take time. I'd say about like 4 weeks-ish. I know this thing can move fast, but I think it's going to try and make a push towards that 250, 255 level. Basically, these August 22nd highs right around here. We have actually been above 252 since July. So just to let you know the gravity or whatever have you of the seriousness of the weight of that level. All right, XLK, the broader tech market. This is obviously now includes your Apples and your Microsofts, so different concentration. But this group has been on fire. Looks like you had your bench, the staples, and the gold, and all this other stuff do a little bit of the work, while XLK was taking a little bit of a breather, as superstars do. You know, even LeBron has to get sips of Gatorade, right? Okay, so similar down move here under the 200 moving average. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a little bit more here. So 4 closes under the 200 moving average in the past 12 months. I would call that pretty much a superstar. Now what? Tech does look a little bit, I wouldn't say precarious, but the 200 moving average is still rising. Things look good. What I think is going to happen is this is going to try to make a push towards, it's going to have a hard time getting about to 225. Basically similar reason to what I said about the semiconductors. We haven't been able to get to that level since mid-July for tech. I do think it's going to try and make a run towards that 230 level. 13 points from now, or 2 times today's move, so about 6.5%, 7% over the next month or so. But the quick thing is, people are going to question the move because that's going to say, oh, that's all it's got. It's not going to get to these 52-week all-time highs, rather. So be on the lookout. That's going to be a narrative. And then Mexico, let's see. They came for a pig like this. Mexico here. Let's take a look. Not far removed from its 52-week low, literally 12 hours ago or 24 hours ago. So here's what's going on with Mexico. Again, these things have gotten really oversold. Basically, if you want to do a scan for anything that's hit a 52-week low in the past 30 days, these things have been hit a little bit too much, a little bit oversold, even though their readings don't acknowledge that. I see for a lot of these similar characters, those securities moves towards a 21 EMA. So for this name, 53.5. So right here where you see this convergence of moving averages, I think it's going to bounce to that. Today had a big move of 2% or a buck. So I see it going another $1.40. If there's some kind of animal spirits taking over, this can make an ultimate push towards the upper Bollinger Band, about 57. Again, this has no correlation to tech, right, and the semiconductors. But look, just similarly, it's the levels that you're taking out back to July. It's going to take a lot of heavy lifting. I'm not so quite sure it does it in the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's longer term down the line. All right, XLP, opposite story, right? So these other names were 52-week, 24 hours removed from the 52-week lows. This is 52-week, 24 hours removed from the 52-week highs. And what happened? Exactly what the algo does, reverse, exit those names, enter those names, right? Also due to conditions as in risk off, risk on. I don't want to sound like Windex. Risk off, risk on. But today was risk on. So what is going on for staples? I said before, this has no business being up there as much as it was overbought for since August 20th. There's not that much fear in the market, so that's a little bit overdone. It's also rotating into brands like Campbell's, who hit 52-week highs. There's strength underneath. So all that being said, I think this is on the decline. It's literally the opposite of what I just said in terms of rallying to the 21 EMA, and then if it makes a major push to the upper band. So for this, it's already at essentially its 21-day EMA, 81.90. So I think it's going to go a little bit further. It got there on the lower part, the worst part of the trading today, and then it bounced up to close marginally. I mean, for it, multiple sigma mover registration in my book, down 95 bips or 93 bips. So again, I'll give weakness for this group over the next 2 weeks. If they really flush it, I see it going to 80, but not much more than that. It's not a group that's, I don't think, going to get absolutely hounded. So I think it actually gets to about that 50-day moving average, which is 80 quarter. All right, no repeat in charts. Top 5 gainers the past 5 days. Nat gas up 6%. Look at this dog. Let's see how close it's getting to our target, because I will happily write to short that crapola. So I think this wants to make a run. I've been saying it all week, around 15 to 15.5. This is really starting to flatten. You might get a little bit of expansion due to a large input like today, but it's not massive for nat gas. So I think it's going to get to 15. I will happily short this through put spreads, buying put spreads. If it goes up another 75 cents, we'll see. I'm going to keep a look in the next week, but I'm going to write it. It's interesting how I'm getting a lot of short ideas here in the next couple of weeks. Short tan, short uranium, short nat gas, buy home construction soon, though. So it's pretty interesting. Those trade ideas together sometimes form, I don't want to say a bias, but a cohesive portfolio strategy and method of attack in my head. So I'm going to write short nat gas, and it's going to be, I'm going to really have spidey senses on for this in about a week's time. So I'll write 918. All right. Next, uranium. We already looked at that, not doing it again, but that's up 3.5% in the past 5 days. Congrats if you're long that. Third best gainer in the past 5 days, SMH up 3.3. We looked at that chart as well. So you can see it's momentum building. These names I already talked about all having multiple sigma moves today, and they're your leaders for the past week. XLK is your fourth biggest leader, up 3.3. And the one we haven't looked at in quite a while, ARC. ARC is up 3% in the past 5 days. So they're coming for this. Let's see. I think last I checked, this has been a pretty chart to trade technically due to the heaviness of the 200-day as well. Let's take a look. 1 sec. My computer is not performing on the screen. Oh, here we go. All right, so beautiful tag here, the 200-day moving average, 2 days, August 25th, 26th, and then it melted, and now we are back up. Let's see. So my counter starts basically, it's hard to see, especially for you guys, but here is when the counter started. July 29th, so this is way overdue. I would have given this to about August 29th to, last week. It couldn't do it. This was the best. I would get personally, let me look at a little bit of cycle work I did here. I think because this is a weak part of the market, like I said, like Mexico, like this other junk, just that hasn't performed, they're going to buy this kind of junk. So I don't want to step out of its way for about 2 weeks. I think this is going to get to maybe as high as the 200-day moving average. This is just flattening. It actually is going down. It's hard to see, but just recently it's starting to just flatten. 46.52 is the move. I think it's going to get to 46.5 over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I would short that. I think I have enough shorts, so I don't want to do that, and there's probably better shorts than this out there. Due to at least it tangled with the 200-day moving average since April, and it most recently registered overbought conditions in July. So there's better, but that's my forecast for that move. Nice move today, up 2%. All right, top 5 losers of the past 5 days, VXX. Let's go. So volatility, as I said, is the best short and the best absolute trade of the last 5 days, down 9%, almost 2% a day. Today, a big flush, down 4.25. That probably was the top right here in terms of the VIX volatility. The September 6th, when we're looking at this and it hit 59, that was probably as good as it gets in the near term. Even through the doldrums, through the seasonality, I'm not sure we see the explosion. Again, the 200-day moving average adjusted post-split for this is 54 even. We are beneath that. We are also, 54 is the 21-day exponential moving average. I'm sorry, 49 is the 21-day exponential moving average. I apologize for that. I think over the next 3 to 4 weeks, this goes towards 40, which is exactly its 52-week low. That would translate and correspond with new highs in the market. So again, I think it's going to take a little bit longer to flush out. I think this will take probably through mid-October, and mid-October, the whole Black Monday celebration and whatnot usually doesn't put warm fuzzies into the market and buying super micro up 8%, for example. You know what I mean? So the 200-day moving average, though, is declining. You get very small scares. Japan was one, and then you had one this last week, similar related to Japan and everything else we discussed. Okay, moving on. So that's my call on volatility. KRA, regional banks, we didn't look at this yet. They were carried down 4% in the past week. Down today, 1.2%. This area was getting hurt. It looks like an oversold buy here. It might take more time, but I do like the support at 52, above the 200-day moving average, which is still rising. I like that right here. It held the Japan lows, as it were, down here, way back there, 52. I think this holds. I don't think you have to pile into any stock. Hence why I probably have 3 short ideas written down and 1 long over the next month, just due to seasonality. But days like today are encouraging, and I think this makes a move towards 56. I'm going to curb my enthusiasm. I think it's going to move towards 56. Ultimate target 59, but that's going to take longer into potentially, early November, probably right around election time, I would say. Okay, and Akari having a bad go of it. Okay, XOP I want to highlight. This is a new 52-week low again today. So not everything rallied. A new 52-week low. It did recover from the lows. It traded to an ugly 124, closed at nearly 127. Now what? Since we said they're piling into losers, what happened? Why aren't they piling into something like this? I do think this will at least mean revert to 129. It is registered an oversold level. So I do think you'll get a bounce to 129. And then after that, if it has a really big surge of buying 135. This heaviness, though, the 200-day moving average, and I talked about this as well on the call, August 1st, the calendar or my countdown clock started. So I give this to September 1st to about September 8th to about last week for it to recoup this 200-day moving average, and it didn't. And now it's going lower, and now that is ultimately very heavy. This 142 half level has been able to hold it since August 1st, and I don't think it's going to anytime soon. So if you're in this area, I would, after this next mean reversion rally to at least, higher levels to about 135, I would, potentially get out of this space. All right, XLE, just really fast. It's going to be a pretty similar sharp. I want to show you the broader market, the broader energy complex, rather, as it has Exxon, Marathon, etc. So similar, excuse me. This is a little bit oversold. I think this should have bounce back to 85 fairly quickly and try to make a move with some gusto towards 89. The 200-day moving average is 89. I think that might be it. This is an interesting move as well. So this I forgive because it got back very quickly after Japan crash. And right here, I will go very specifically. So here the 200-day moving average is 88.91. We close at 89.01. So the calendar starts right here. The countdown clock starts September 4th. So I give this name to October 4th to about October 11th. This has to be, for me to be long it, above 89 even in the stock. So in the ETF here. So we'll see if we can do it. The fact that XOP, which has a lot of crossover, obviously, with this is making 52-week lows, is not very comforting. And equivalent level for XLE 52-week low is 79. So again, not great feelings out of the XLE, but I do think you get a decent rally coming up to about 89 level. Okay, so that's 5 points, not too shabs. And then lastly, CAF. We haven't looked at this in quite a while. This is pretty close to your IWM or your small caps, although differently constructed. So let me pull this up. So CAF is why we're looking at it, because it's down 3.5%, almost as much as energy. There is energy, a bit in here. Very similar take on it as well. I think the support at 42.85 should hold right around here. We are above it today. It got below it and then popped up. This could have a tough week, but I do think it's going to see a move towards 45 even over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And ultimately, yeah, you have this 200-day moving average. It's flat at 46.20. Don't love to see that. Small caps, this specifically constructed is now, they put it in July 31st. A high wick there at, we'll call it $50 even. Yeah, I think this makes a move towards 45, and it's going to have a hard time getting to this 46. That might be where it gets to at the end, of a month's time. Okay, so yeah, best 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you were short vol, long nat gas, short regional banks, congratulations, you were absolutely crushing the market. Those are 3 best places to be. No video tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. I will talk to you on Friday for an end of week recap, and I'm going to take a breath now. Bye.